A tiger lies behind the glass, barely moving. On the other side, a child presses both hands against the barrier. A parent raises a phone. Someone whispers, "Look, he's looking right at us." And maybe he is, but not the way we think. To that tiger, we may not be visitors. We may be noise, motion, routine, threat, boredom, or nothing at all. A strange species that gathers in front of the glass, points, flashes, stares, and then disappears. We walk through zoos believing we are the observers. The uncomfortable possibility is that we are also being watched, not admired, not judged, watched. A zoo animal does not meet humanity. It meets the woman with the bucket, the man with the needle, the child who screams, the crowd that taps the glass and vanishes. A gorilla is not reading us the way a snake is. A penguin is not asking the same question as an elephant. Different animals have different senses, different fears, different memories, and different reasons to care about us. Some may ignore us almost completely. Some may watch us because we are unpredictable. Some may connect us with food, training, cleaning, noise, danger, or the sudden interruption of boredom. And some may recognize much more than we expect. For many zoo animals, human is not one simple category. There are keepers, there are veterinarians, there are visitors, there are children, there are loud groups, there are people who stop and stare, there are people who pass by and mean nothing. A keeper may mean breakfast, a familiar voice, a door opening, a routine the animal knows by heart. A veterinarian may mean restraint, needles, gloves, or a strange smell in the air. A visitor may mean a wall of faces, sudden noises, and no clear way to predict what happens next. And for the animal, those differences are not small. An animal might be calm near one human and tense near another. Not because it has a moral opinion about us, but because it has learned patterns. Animals are very good at patterns. Survival often depends on it. A zebra does not need to understand the philosophy of predators to run from a lion. A crow does not need to understand law enforcement to remember a threatening face. A chimpanzee does not need human language to notice who brings food and who only stands there staring. In a zoo, humans become part of the environment, not just background, a force. For some animals, the crowd is not scenery. It is noise with faces. It presses close to the glass. It points, it laughs, it flashes light. It moves in ways that do not follow any animal rule. A crowd can be stressful. It can be loud, close, and visually intense. Primates, big cats, birds, and many other species may change their behavior when visitors are nearby. Sometimes they hide. Sometimes they become more alert. Sometimes they pace. Sometimes they show aggression. Researchers even have a name for this: the visitor effect. And it is not one simple thing. A crowd can stress one animal, interest another, and mean almost nothing to a third. That is where the easy version of the story breaks. We often imagine the zoo animal as a prisoner annoyed by our presence. Sometimes that may be close to reality, but not always. For some animals, visitors can also be stimulation. Something to watch, something that breaks up the day. A sea lion may come near the glass because movement and attention are interesting. A penguin may follow a child's hand because the motion catches its eye. Some primates may approach the viewing area not only because they are disturbed, but because something socially interesting is happening there. A bird may track a person's movement with surprising precision. An elephant may notice voices, timing, routines, and individual relationships. But we have to be careful. An animal approaching the glass does not automatically mean it likes us. An animal looking bored does not mean it is thinking nothing. An animal pacing does not always mean the same thing in every species, every enclosure, or every moment. Sometimes, what looks entertaining to us may be complicated for them. A bear walking the same path again and again may draw a crowd because people think it is active. But repeated pacing can also be a sign that something in the environment is not meeting the animal's needs. A monkey grabbing attention near the glass may seem playful. It may also be trying to control a situation that feels overwhelming. Even stillness can fool us. A quiet animal is not always relaxed. Stillness can mean calm. It can also mean caution. That is the trap of the zoo window. We see a stare and call it connection. We see pacing and call it boredom. We see stillness and call it sadness. Sometimes we are right. Sometimes we are only describing ourselves. Because the real question is not just what zoo animals do when they see us. It is what they make of us, and that is much harder. The animal cannot lean toward a microphone and explain what the stare means. It cannot say, "That person makes me nervous," or "That uniform means food," or "That crowd is too loud," but behavior gives clues. Many animals can tell the difference between familiar and unfamiliar people. Some zoo animals respond differently to keepers they know compared with strangers. Wild animals, too, can use human cues, gaze, posture, movement, approach direction, even individual identity, when deciding whether a person is dangerous, irrelevant, or useful. So a zoo animal may not see a random crowd as one blurry mass. It may notice details: the direct stare, the raised hand, the child running, the keeper's shoes, the bucket, the routine. A gorilla may react differently to someone staring straight into the enclosure than to someone standing quietly to the outside. A prey animal may care deeply about whether a human approaches quickly or slowly. A bird may learn that one uniform predicts food while another predicts capture. A big cat may not understand glass the way we understand glass, but it can still learn that the humans behind it never cross into its space. Over time, the zoo becomes a map of repeated human behavior. Some humans are predictable. Some are meaningless. Some are worth watching. There is a strange reversal here. We often look at zoo animals and ask whether they are intelligent enough to understand us. But from the animal's side, the question may be whether we are consistent enough to be understood. And often, we are not. Visitors point, laugh, tap glass, make animal noises, imitate calls, wave food, take photos, shout names the animal does not know, and then leave. From the animal's point of view, we may be less like wise observers and more like weather. Loud weather, moving weather, weather with faces. For animals with strong social intelligence, this can be especially intense. Primates live in worlds of attention, rank, expression, and threat. A stare is not just a stare in a primate brain. It can be a challenge, a warning, a pressure. So when hundreds of apes outside the enclosure stare in at one ape inside it, that may not feel neutral. For prey species, our bodies may send a different message. Forward-facing eyes, upright posture, direct approach. Even when we are holding ice cream and wearing sandals, we may still look, in some basic animal sense, like something that could be dangerous. For reptiles, the story changes again. A snake is not wondering about our intentions in a human-like way. It may register heat, vibration, movement, chemical traces. We may be too large to be prey, too distant to be a direct threat, too irrelevant to matter unless we enter its space. So what do zoo animals think of us? Not one thing. That may be the whole answer. They sort us by consequence: food, safety, noise, space, novelty, control, memory. A keeper opening a gate is not the same as a visitor tapping glass. A quiet child is not the same as a screaming crowd. A familiar trainer is not the same as a veterinarian carrying equipment. To an animal, human is not a single category. It is a collection of outcomes. And that collection can shape the animal's entire day. Imagine being watched every afternoon by a crowd you cannot approach, cannot fully avoid, and cannot understand. You hear bangs on glass, laughter, footsteps, strollers, voices, cameras. Some of those sounds mean nothing. Some mean food is coming. Some mean stress. For the animal, the challenge is not just seeing humans, it is sorting them. This is why retreat spaces matter. A shaded corner, a higher platform, a hidden room, a patch of vegetation thick enough to disappear behind. These details may not look dramatic to visitors. A person may walk past and think the animal is hiding, or boring, or hard to see. But for the animal, that hidden space can change everything. Choice matters. The ability to move away from the crowd may be just as important as the ability to approach it. An animal that can choose when to be seen experiences visitors differently from an animal that is always exposed. Control does not erase captivity, but it can change how a day feels inside it. And this is the part most visitors never think about. Our presence does not stop at the barrier. The visitor area is part of the enclosure. The glass, the railing, the path, the crowd size, the noise, the distance, the places where an animal can retreat. All of it shapes what the animal experiences. A zoo exhibit is not just habitat plus animal. It is habitat plus animal plus humans watching. That means we are not outside the story. We are inside the animal's day. A leopard resting above the crowd may be choosing height because height gives control. A gorilla turning its back may not be rude. It may be managing attention. A penguin following people along the glass may be curious, stimulated, or simply responding to motion. An elephant standing near a keeper may be responding to a relationship built through repetition, voice, timing, and trust. And behind all of this is a question zoos cannot avoid. If animals notice us, remember us, react to us, and sometimes suffer or benefit from our presence, then the zoo is not only a place where humans learn about animals, it is also a place where animals learn about humans. They may learn that we are noisy but harmless. They may learn that some of us bring food. They may learn that some of us cannot be trusted. They may learn that the world is full of eyes. A zoo animal probably does not look at us and think, "There goes humanity." It does not build a theory of our species. It does not wonder why we bought tickets. But it may know the keeper's steps, the sound of the bucket, the child who runs, the crowd that gets too loud, the place it can hide when the watching becomes too much. We arrive expecting to see wildness safely contained behind glass. But from the other side, we may be the strange animals, restless, noisy, predictable in some ways, impossible in others. The animal looks back, not because it understands us completely, but because in its world, we are something it has had to learn.